Hello.
This is like a really Dutch and Danish conversation, so it's going to be... Hi.
Hi. What are we going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about?
Yes.
Oh, how to avoid a hangover after the party tonight.
Okay.
That's all I'm thinking about.
It's all about behavior, you're right, yes.
I don't know.
You already introduced the concept of traffic psychologist. It's my official profession. And when I say it, when I introduce myself in Holland, people look very weird. And they say, what? And I say, again, traffic psychologist, a little bit slower. And then they still doesn't understand why you have to be a psychologist and acting with traffic. Mm-hmm. But it's all about behavior, traffic. You mentioned it in your wonderful presentation already. Traffic is behavior, and so it's something for psychologists.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important. I mean, and that's what we've seen for so long. Maybe not in our countries, but I mean, you know, bicycles in many parts of the world have been put into a box with cars. Like in the planning mentality in Germany and in America, okay, I don't know, they got wheels, so we'll put them all together. But like in our countries, you know, the bicycle is just a fast-moving pedestrian. So like we already separate them in a different way, which is more beneficial, because you know bikes are not cars. You know, all the traffic rules that we have in all of our countries. I mean, they're designed for the automobile, right? And
right,
as a cyclist, I'm expected to follow. It's like me trying to play badminton with rugby rules, right? Like it just doesn't work. So I mean, I'm happy to bend the rules when I cycle through the city because of my behavioral preferences, but also because that wasn't designed for me. You know, it's I think it's really important to try and think like that.
In Holland, there are a lot of cities who wants to be the bike city of the Netherlands, even the bike city of the world, but still they're building large car parking facilities in the city center. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys are legend for like generally your bike parking.
Yeah.
But you still also, you know, this is like I work a lot with developers who in many countries, including the Netherlands, say, oh, you're going to build a building? Okay, you need like a certain % of car parking. And the developers are like, okay, that's what we do. They're conservative. But I mean, you know, you don't actually need the car parking anymore. When you live in a Dutch city or really any big city, you know, you can sell more units by not building the car parking. But we still are stuck in our ways in so many ways.
Yeah, and the roads are still very big for the cars. The car roads are very large, and now they become traffic jam of bikes. You understand?
Yeah.
Before the traffic lights, there's really congestion of bikes.
Yeah.
And the bike lanes are very small. So we have to reverse it. We have to change it.
There's in the city of Copenhagen, there's a new kind of communication kind of strategy or a narrative. On some of the busiest bicycle stretches, there's one bridge. They're saying, right, 55% of the traffic is bikes here, but they only have 30% of the road space. So
yeah,
that's a way of like actually politically to start widening them, which is incredibly important. You know, we're never going to get rid of cars, unfortunately. We just need to reduce the number in our cities and re-democratize that space.
Yeah, but I was asked to tell something about smart mobility. That's a concept in Holland. Smart mobility is using technology in traffic, but it's all technology-driven. It's all about techniques, and well, that's a pity because they don't realize what it means to our human factors. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important that psychologists and other behavioral scientists will participate in the discussions.
It's for years, it's interesting. For years, like traffic engineering dominated, and it was just like this huge room, and you could never get in to talk to them about how to do stuff differently. And now, I mean, I love tech, of course, but I mean, it's like it's another new closed room where it's hard to get in and talk about these kind of issues, right? We're just inventing stuff because we can, not because we need it. You know, it's just like gadgets. I get 3 emails a week. Hi, Michael, we got a new product that's going to revolutionize cycling or keep cyclists safe. Nah, like none of it. I've never seen any of them actually become anything. They all disappear within a couple of years because they have totally the wrong focus. They're not, you know, they're not thinking about the people. They're thinking about selling gadgets.
Exactly. Holland is a relatively small country with 17 million people living in, and it's still growing, the population. So in the morning and in the evening, there are a lot of congestion. And they think they can solve it with smart mobility, with the technological innovations. But it's only to increase the capacity of the road. And what you see is that increasing the capacity leads to more cars. So it isn't a solution.
It's funny, the only thing really that we've learned from 100 years of traffic engineering is if you make more space for cars, more cars come.
Yeah, exactly.
If you widen the motorway, look, everybody, I'm the politician, I widened the motorway for billions, and then 6 months later, induced demand, Google that, and boom, there's more cars, and, and then you're back to square one. The money that you're just spending on that shit is just like, it's obscene in a way. Yeah. And if you make wider bike lanes, you get more bikes, which pays off, as with the health benefits and whatnot. So yeah, we're still stuck. We think we're, I'm an optimist, but sometimes now I'm talking to you, I'm depressed, nothing personal, but I'm just like realizing, God, yeah, we still have these hurdles, but so many cities are doing it that I think that momentum is incredibly optimistic. Yeah. We're going to get there at some point.
Exactly, but there's another problem, I think, and that's that with all those technological innovations, they forget the human aspect of car driving, because car driving is not only a mode, the car is not only a transport mode to bring you from one place to the other, but it's also something psychological. We like to drive cars. A lot of people like to drive cars. They give us a kind of feeling of how do you call it?
Anonymity.
Anonymity. Yep. Thank you very much. And it's the power we have, the control over the car. It's something like our personal space, maybe even territorial feelings, and it's a way to react our emotions. And when we go to self-driving cars, to autonomous cars, then all those aspects are disappear. And that's, I think, really a problem.
Yeah. Also, when you think about all these tech things, like regarding transport, there's a lot of hype. Like the hype is the headlines. And then when you start to look behind it, like if every car in Europe was electric, we would need 50 new nuclear power plants to power them. And I'd say this to some of the tech guys, they go, oh yeah, but we'll figure that out. We'll invent that. We'll invent better sources of energy. I'm going, maybe you should do that before you start inventing electric cars. Maybe there's the wrong process here. And autonomous cars, oh yeah, although I've heard all the bling about them, but like, if you create more space for cars, which you will because they'll be able to travel closer together, that means we're going to have more of these cars in our cities. And they're going to be rolling around all night long, repositioning themselves. So, in Copenhagen at 7 o'clock in the evening, we can play Frisbee outside my apartment because all the suburban people went home. But now there's going to be like cars 24 hours a day. I think one of the coolest tweets I ever saw about self-driving cars was, you put a self-driving car in the middle of Amsterdam, and it's just going to break down and cry.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like just bikes everywhere, people walking everywhere, the car's going, oh, fuck my life. Okay, no. I mean, yeah, but we'll solve that. But yeah, whatever. We're focused in transport. We're focusing wrong, like you say. We can use tech in so many amazing ways, but we kind of have 7,000 years of experience of cities and 150 years of 130 years of bikes and pedestrians and whatnot. So I think that's kind of done now, and we can use tech like you also have in the Netherlands, the sensors, the rain sensors to prioritize cyclists. You have like solar powered bike lanes and stuff now. I mean, all that kind of stuff is really cool. It serves a purpose, but it doesn't mess with our rather perfect design, right? We don't need to reinvent it,
Yeah, and it's not sexy enough for the technicians.
No.
They want to go further and further, and they want to prove that it's all possible, but they forget the human aspects.
Yeah. So what do we do? How do we fix that?
Well,
you're supposed to ask me the question.
Well, I do my best.
Yeah.
But it's a world of believers, and they don't allow critics.
I think we as you, we talking about this for years, but now we have cities like the Russian city, like Detroit, like Seville. Now it's kind of like, hopefully that will overpower, right? We see, you just build the infrastructure, people ride bikes. Okay, there's a bike share system. I have a little, there's tech involved there. That's awesome. But I mean, really, I think the momentum comes from just more and more cities just building the infrastructure and us using a little bit of tweaking with technology instead of dominating with technology. And we could just save a lot of energy in tech, and just to use it where we need it, I think.
But there are a lot of other problems in the technological innovations, because a large problem in Holland, but I think everywhere, is that car drivers use their smartphone when they're driving. And when you say, well, cars getting more intelligent and they drive by themselves and they stop by themselves, so you think, okay, then I can use my smartphone, that's no problem anymore.
Yeah.
But the end stage where everything is connected and everything is self-driving is far away. So on the way to that stadium, it's very dangerous, and we give the wrong signs. I
think one of the most shocking numbers for me is the fact that 35,000 people die every year in car crashes in Europe, 40,000 in America, and those numbers are completely unchanged for 60 years. It's basically a 9/11 attack every single month in Europe and in America, and you know, people are like, oh, we're going to make a gadget for a bike. Yeah, well, maybe we should try and figure out how to solve that. Yeah. Not just with autonomous cars, you know, that's, if we just put all of our focus into trying to save 35,000 lives a year, plus hundreds of thousands of injuries in car crashes, man, that would be something important for our society, instead of maybe just using it in the wrong way. You know, it's like, oh, but cycling, you know, it's not dangerous. Cycling is the safest form of transport on wheels, right? Buses are safer, of course.
But is it allowed in Denmark to use your cell phone on the bike?
No, but we do it anyway. The police don't stop you for that.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you know, you're at the red light, you know, you just, oh, new song on Spotify, boom. And or you have your hands free, you know, like the people, it's really weird now. You're in the morning rush hour with like 100 other bikes and you're listening to some woman's conversation about, you know, her boss or something, right? It's just like, yeah, I don't need to hear that, but I mean, that's, you know, that's with the microphone and everything like that, right? But yeah, I can't sit there and operate it with my hand, technically.
Yeah, in Holland, it's, you can use your cell phone on the bike yet. In June, it's forbidden, and they really think that's the solution. The government think that's the solution, not the problem. And yeah, well, I say, look at other countries. It doesn't work that way, because it's impossible to have enough police.
Yeah. I mean, Denmark, they do like raids, like the police they announce it sometimes, saying this week we're going after bikes, and you know, and then they proudly declare how many tickets they handed out all over Denmark in that week. 1,000 fines were given, and then I'm the guy on Twitter going, yeah, I'm really bad at math, like I said.
On your bike or not?
Huh?
On your bike or not?
What do you mean?
You said
no. Yeah, no. That's kind of hard with two hands on my bike, but I calculated like 1,000 tickets handed out, and the police are saying we did our job, and I'm going, yeah. So that's basically 0.004% of everybody cycling in Denmark in that week got a. You know, that's pretty good behavior. Like it's such a tiny marginal number. That's all you got is 1,000 tickets. You know, we got a million people cycling every day. So I mean, it's just like. You know, it doesn't have any effect. So even when they enforce it, it has no effect, you know.
Do you have a car?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I have like a car share program in Copenhagen, but I haven't used it for 4 years. Like I never need it.
Okay.
IKEA we have cargo bikes, right? You know, 40,000 cargo bikes, and that's our SUV. So I use that to go to IKEA.
But I think you know people with cars.
Yeah.
Do they use their cell phone while driving? You don't know?
Because I never ride, I'm not going to drive with them. Like, all of my friends my age with kids, they all got a car for the first time in their mid-30s. They've never needed one before that in a city like Copenhagen or even Amsterdam. And they say, well, we got a kid, we're going to buy a summer house, we got to take the kids to grandma's house to babysit. And so they get a car in the mid-30s because they can. And like all of my friends, they ride their bikes to work and back. So they use the cars on the weekends. Right? Or to go to Sweden to the summer house or whatever. So I'm very rarely, I spend 5 hours a year in my daily life in a car in Copenhagen. And that's like, you know, in the summer holidays, I like to rent a car if I'm in like, you know, somewhere. That's kind of fun. So I'm never in a car with these people, to answer your question. I don't know what they do. Okay, they're still alive, so.
But I think drunk drivers, that's socially not accepted. You can't say, well, I'm drinking and I'm driving, then you're out. But using your cell phone, well, everyone knows it's not good, but it's socially accepted. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
Does do it. So that's a really big problem to change the behavior.
Yeah.
Because everyone say, okay, well, I do it as well.
Totally. I mean,
and how can we make the switch just like with alcohol and driving? Well,
that's where we can use tech. If you get into a car and it registers that you're moving at a certain speed, that you must be in a motor vehicle, then your phone
alcohol lock.
Just freezes, right? Like alcohol locks, like in Sweden, you have to blow before the car starts to make sure that you're not, under the influence of alcohol. So yeah, I mean that's an easy one. That's an app, or some kind of jamming device that comes with cars. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's an easy one to do.
And now for the cell phone, yeah, that's also technically possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Maybe that's the only possibility.
Yeah. I mean, my phone knows where I am. If I lose my phone, I can find it again. I mean, the technology's there. It just needs to be something built in.
But passengers can either use their cell phone, so that's a problem. Or when you're in the train, for example, then you also have some speed, so you can use your cell phone as well. That's a problem.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I've checked this because like the GPS, like on Google or whatnot, it knows when you're in a train. When I get into a train in the Netherlands,
that's true.
I turn on my phone and it says you're on this train. Like, how does it know I'm on the train? Like, that's kind of spooky sometimes. But so I mean, we can figure that out.
Privacy, yeah.
One of the ideas I had years ago was, on cigarette packs, we have like legislation saying we need to have health warnings. And I took all the health warnings and I went to a doctor friend and I said, do these apply to driving in cars? And she sat there and looked at all. She's going, totally. She did her science. She went, yeah, every single one. Smoking makes you impotent. She says driving a car and you get more microparticles in a car than you do if you're riding a bike next to it. Yeah, so that'll make you impotent. And she said, yeah. So like, where is the European Union legislation that every car has to have 50% of the surface area with a big health warning? Imagine on Monday.
Yeah, but I don't believe in fair appeal.
You don't?
No, I don't, because we're all overestimating our own behavior. So we think that's not to us, that's for others, and that's the reason it doesn't work. Fair appeal. Don't make people scared by scary information and so on. I don't believe in it.
But it'd be cool though.
No.
Next Monday, everywhere in Europe, every car and vehicle in Europe has to have a 50% of the car saying driving kills. That's gonna make people think.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Let's have a bet. Let's do it. Cool.
Okay. Time's up.
Oh my God, it is. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And now we actually have time for at least 2 questions. Yeah, I see the hands. The first one was there.
Electric
scooters.
No.
Oh, the scooters.
Scooters
Yeah.
and the electric bikes. Future for those.
Oh, God. I have an article, if you Google it, called The E-Bike Skeptic. I'm just a skeptic. There's a lot of hype. Whenever there's hype, behind the hype is reality or rationality. So I'm just kind of skeptical about how the e-bike industry is like, oh my God, it's going to save the world. The health benefits are 70% less on an e-bike than on a regular bike. In the city of Groningen in the Netherlands, a really good bike city, the friend of mine who's a planner, they're now building separate infrastructure for e-bikes because they don't mix with regular bikes. Too many people are getting killed and hurt. So we have to be very rational about that discussion, that's all. They're not going to go anywhere, but it's not going to save the world. Electric scooters this year, my God, what's happened, right? It's everywhere I'm around, everywhere I've been speaking this, people are going, what about electric scooters? I don't have an answer yet. I'm waiting for the data about safety, and we're starting to see some studies come out, and it's basically not a very safe form of transport. And it's not people jumping out of cars onto these vehicles, it's like lazy-ass pedestrians, right? It's just like, I can't walk, I'm going to take a scooter. And so they're not getting any health benefits. They are increasing their risk of injury, which we pay for. I mean, it's a society. I mean, so I don't know. I'm not again, a little bit of rationality about that, but I'm waiting for more data before I, explode on that one, yeah. Which I probably will.
Okay, can you pass, the catch box?
Thank you. Do you believe that the companies of bike sharing, dockless, the ones with dockers, run by municipalities have a future or not?
I think docked bike share is well established. I think it's It's transport, you know. If I want to go take a bus, there's a bus stop. I wait for the bus. It's like that's what we've been doing for a while. And oh, I want a bike, I go to the bike station and take a bike. And that works well. There's 1,500 cities in the world now that have docked bike share. The dockless, it's another thing. I'm not a big fan. It's private exploitation of public space. It's some company just leaving bikes all over the place, and they are a pedestrian hazard. They, you know, they're ugly. I mean, you know, they're starting to disappear now. Like some of these companies are like pulling out of France. They're leaving space. Like it's a little weird window we're in at the moment. I think people are going to realize, you know, a docked bike share makes sense in the transport equation. Like at a transport hub, bus, train, take a bike, boom. Like that's how it works, right? And it's worked rather well. The whole dockless thing, like I was just in Mexico City, and like they just have like 5 companies, you know. So you're like stepping over bikes to get to the cafes. I mean, they're everywhere, and the scooters as well. So like there's a lot of countries that really, really value their public space, like Latin countries, France and Spain and Italy. Like there's like that's our public space. And you know, you almost got families in France going out and trashing the dockless bikes. It's like kind of a throw them in the river. There's funny Instagrams from Dallas and Seattle about where all these bikes end up. I mean, whatever. It's like Chinese companies, some European companies. I mean, but for me, they're invading my public space. They're not paying to park there, and I pay for that sidewalk, right? So for me personally, I'm insulted, right? And I don't, you know, there's not a lot of like great experience. Like there's no amazing success anywhere in the world. The dockless ones have a lot of data from the past 10 years. So I think that's going to be the one that wins out at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the last question over there. Can you throw?
Whoa.
Watch out.
Bad throw. Your opinion on the cycle lanes and their usability during the winter time. I'm a cyclist. My cycle has gone into hibernation. 2 days ago, they put salt on the bicycle lanes. So what is your solution here?
Yeah.
When you're going to talk to Nils next time?
I mean, if you look at Copenhagen, you know, like 2 million people, we use salt. Like we salt preventatively. Like it's actually my weather report in the winter. I'm sitting in my apartment and I have, you know, bike lanes obviously outside my, you know, I hear and there's like a bike lane cleaner. And I'm going, shit, is it going to snow? And it is. So they do it preventatively, but then they sweep it up as soon as the snow starts falling. So they actually get a lot of the salt back. It doesn't go into the trees. We have little barriers on all of our trees so that they don't get, you know, salt splashing on them and whatnot. There are other solutions like beetroot juice. There's some kind of saline solution using beetroot, which isn't purple, because that would be weird, right? You'd have like purple splashed up your pants. They've tried it in Canada, they're trying it in Norway, and we're doing some tests in Copenhagen. It's effective, but it's just stupid expensive. So it'll be a time before we can use this more environmentally friendly solution. Until then, we use salt, and we remove the snow quickly, and the salt as well. It's hard, man, because that's what we have, that's what's cheap, and that's what works. And I know the environmental impact of having a lot of salt is not good, but we got to wait for the price to come down on all the fancy new stuff.
Might need some special services on the cycle lanes.
No. We have asphalt. I mean, seriously, you cycle, you know, on my Instagram, Vikings biking, you'll see what I'm talking about. We clear them, and if there's a snowstorm and there's lots of snow, people are still, you know, the asphalt is the, you know, it's the best quality asphalt also. Out on the road, it's more rough because they don't need it smooth. You know, we have smooth asphalt on the bicycle infrastructure, and that's been working fine. We use like thermoplast for like our pictograms. It's all been designed to be incredibly safe and you don't slip. So I would say.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
You deserve a fortune cookie.
All right, thank you.
One for each.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Cool. Hangover tomorrow. Okay. All right, great.